we looked at my Queen Anne lowboy, and we see the beautiful curls in it. The curly maple is most curly on the outside edges. So they look even color and beautiful because they come from one chunk of wood. This is the top drawer, and this is the 3 bottom drawer. This will be cut away. We use it someplace else. The shell gonna be carved right here in the middle piece. I have the props. Let's lay out my shell. We have to find the middle of the drawer. It's 10 1/4 inch long, 5 1/8, 5 1/8. Mark it. Put a square line all the way across. Everything happening around this. The circle is up. The center circle is up about 11/16. I mark that. I sharpened one leg on my divider like a little knife to a point and round it off. So when I make the circle with that, it's gonna cut into the wood a little bit. It's gonna help my carving. I just push it into the place where I have that and then cut into my wood. Very gentle first because the wood grain would take this. So I am cutting a little knife marks around. That's going to guide my chisel. In my compass, I put a pencil like also a little knife. It's a chunk of metal, and I sharpened it the same way as my caliper. So I open this compass to 3 1/16, gonna give me a 6 1/8. 6 1/8 circle. That's also gently I cut into the wood. Next, I set this compass to 6. I need a 6 1/2 circle, therefore I have to open that to 3 1/4. Lock my compass, double check it. This is gonna be the overall size of the fan. And again, I am cutting into the wood. Be patient and put gentle pressure on it so the wood grain don't take you someplace else. The fan has an odd number of fans, therefore we have to start smack middle. It's 10 cents, it's 3/4 inch circle. I used that to put onto this cardboard, marked it, cut it with a scissor, and I'm ready to mark it all the way around. Center that up in the middle and start marking. using a section of the circle, not the whole half a circle. Only section of it. I have to come back. I went too far on that. You have to line that tip of that cardboard on the inside knife mark. Got to go to the other way. Now I mark straight from the point to that spot where I am ending up. Just a straight line. Both sides. Have to be perfectly lined up, and use your pencil line. I'm ready to relieve this carving to the edge of the quarter round. My circle is a 1 inch plus, just a little bigger. Why? Because my chisel fits perfect to that. I put the chisel into that little knife mark and hold it straight and tap it. Both sides. I want to cut the end grain first. You have to put both corners into the same spot. Make sure you have a perfect circle. If you hold the chisel by the bottom, use your finger to guide it. Much easier to put it in spot. Now I can start relief carving that. Same on the other side. You go a little deeper. At the circle, next to the circle, you want to be very careful and gentle. Don't touch that. The circle will stay flat and the same elevation as the rest of the draw front. You come in from the outside and take some off. Just a very little bit around the circle because you got to chisel deeper. The same chisel into the, hold it straight and then tap it. You want to slice it. That curly maple is very wild and wanna be rough on the bottom. Wanna make this section nice and smooth on the bottom. Use this carving tool on the end. Take very little slices and come closer and closer to that knife mark I put on there with the compass. Do the same thing on this side. And then I have to take out here, in there is an S shape. If you wish, you can use a regular compass and mark a section what you want to keep straight. This is sort of a guideline. What I'm going to do is take out a lot in the middle, and this between these two lines, I leave it almost the same elevation. That's going to create this nice S shape in there. For that, I used the chisel like that to cross carve is very you come in from both directions. It's easier to control the chisel if your elbow is down on the bench. And then in here, gently you come to the circle. You want to take out a little bit. Here I'm looking only an 1/8 of an inch depth. Have to go down very little. Get my half circle chisel, put it in there. The key to this chisel is to be straight, absolutely straight up and down. I'm using the corner of the chisel and try to do cross the grain. Little by little, you want to go down about 3/16 or so. If you take shallow cuts, it doesn't tear the wood. If you cut deep, it tears the wood. Now I'm going to go to that circle what I marked. Not quite, but almost to that knife mark. if I'm looking from the end, I want to see an S shape there. Much longer in the middle and very light at the end. And I try to do this all the way around, nice and even. When I have a tear out right there, I gotta go gently. You take little pieces, come from the other direction, and it's out. A sharp chisel leaves shiny surface behind. You have to have patience with curly maple because it chips very easily. So I would carry this all the way across. Let me go to my next prop. With the magic of the DVD, look how far I come. Seriously, I'm gonna do the other side, show you how we keep progressing with this. It's the roughness you have to worry about. Before I can mark the fans, I have to clean this out more. Just have to understand, you have to be very patient and use very light cuts. Very light cuts. If you use a light cut, it leaves a nice smooth surface behind. The chisel has to be very sharp and just nicely clean it up. What I did here is connected. Have the straight edge smack middle of the circle, and with the pencil line you connect. You need a cardboard because you want to go in to that hole and just make a nice pencil line and keep going to the next one. To the next one. You watch the end of it, you want to be approximately 1/8 of an inch apart. But the center of the circle connected gives you that distance anyway. First thing I do is use a parting tool and cut it like that. If I have difficulty with that, I use a straight knife. This is a very nice carving knife because you can put two hands on it. On here, I can use it only with one hand, and with my thumb, I put on the top a little pressure. Just put it into the top corner and pull down on the pencil line. Stay on the pencil line. And do the other one. If I do that, it's much easier to go with the parting tool. See that? Beautiful. How do I know I'm in the right track with the parting tool? By the two shaving coming off from the parting tool is equal size. Notice I stopped. I don't go through. I would break out the fibers. I will turn it around and come in from the other side. When I turn it around, I start at the circle and do these cuts first. A gentle pressure first, and then the second time you push hard. You do this on all the fans. Now I can start from the top with the parting tool and go a little deeper. Again, use the straight knife. When I am at this stage, I go for the chisel I know how to use. Regular straight chisels. I just feel very comfortable with that. Take off the corners. I was carving against the grain. You cut this side. Pay attention to this pencil line. You have to be patient with this curly maple. If you want to take off bigger chunks, it's going to break the wood. I am carving with the grain. Let me show you what I mean by that. You don't comb your hair like this. You don't carve the wood like this. You do it this way, from the top down, so you're not going against the grain. If I want to carve these sides, I got to turn the wood around. If I wouldn't be on camera, I would go around my bench and carve from there, but I don't want to show you my back. So right there, now I am going on this side. Beautiful, does not tear, does not break out. You want to round up top of those fans. Sharp chisel cuts beautifully. I am paying attention to that little circle, and I'm going closer and closer to it. If a good wood carver would watch this, gonna say, oh, Frank is not much of a wood carver. It's very true. Very true. I'm a cabinet maker. But when I made my lowboy, I said, this is my lowboy. I'm gonna carve this, whatever it takes. And I did. I'm not much of a wood turner, but you see my funnels beautifully turned. It wasn't easy, but I did it. So this is how I carved. This is how I carved my fan. So let me show you what I do with these little circles. I sharpen this chisel, round it off, regular chisel, but when I round it off and tried it into that circle, the same size and whatnot, and I also round it this way, so it follows that circle. And I can put this into the line and tap it gently. Next one. Next one. And then I take the middle out with this chisel. I round it up this way, and it's very sharp. Just put it there and push it down gently. Take a couple of small cuts. And then I use this chisel with the corners and put these corners in there to clean it out. I want to leave that pencil line to the very last end. When I do this, I'm absolutely straight up and down. So just push it down nicely. I am slicing inside there, left and right. And then I come to the pencil line. Let me show you what's going on in the bottom of this. With this chisel, the very straight chisel I have, just you're cutting a little V groove, left and right. To go into the corners, I'm coming to this position. I have to go a little deeper with my straight knife. Right there. You just chip it away. Let me go to my next prop so we can finish this fan. I outline those middles again with the straight knife. Push it in there and go all the way. There a little more right there. It's a bump, square feel to it. Grab a little sandpaper, very small piece. Fold it up and sand with the corner, very little bit. Keep moving around to another corner. I don't need any more the pencil lines. I'm going to sand that off. I don't need these pencil lines. I wouldn't want to sand anymore. Little chisel marks here and there don't bother me. I have this little wedge made out of a piece of hard cherry. It's just a wedge, and I round it a little bit. I can burnish that inside corner. Just push it in there and rub it. Look, what a nice, it marks the fan for you. Whoops, don't do that. That's a no-no. I slipped and came too far here. I hope I give you some idea how did I carve my fan. It's many different ways to skin a cat. That's the way I did mine. Once this is finished, have a nice little amber color to it. It's very nice. My curly maple has a little bit of an aniline dye, very little, to age it faster. However, if you're patient enough, within 100 years, gonna have a beautiful patina. I urge you to try that. If you make a piece of furniture, you don't want someone else carve it for you. That's why I did my fan carving, and that's how I did my fan carving.